This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Take me down to the river where the peace won't run dry. Gather round at the river where my soul comes to life and I come alive. Freedom, freedom, freedom for my body, soul, and mind.
The following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you so know it, as we are here on a Whip 'em Out Wednesday that I have never mattered because I'm behind this microphone. What always matters is who the hell's taking a listen to what the heck is going on and talking about this lovely world of safety. So there you go. So let's talk. Let's see how you are. Today is Wednesday, also known as Whip 'em Out Wednesday, December the 6th of 2023, day 340th of the year, and only 25 days left to go. So what do you think? Anyways, we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida. Yep, coming from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida. So we're coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
Radio in USA, Canada, UK.
So there you go. So how have you been? How has the last 24 hours or so been? At least it has been a whirlwind over here of a lifetime, so hopefully it has been the same for you as things move and groove and change and look into a maneuver that you did not imagine before, and hopefully things are just grandioso. Yeah, grandioso. Yeah, I don't know what that means, but it sounds good, at least when we vocalize it. So with that being said, let's talk. If you're not familiar with what we do around here, perfectly fine. That does not hurt my feelings, but let's get into it and talk a little bit about how things are going on. We talk about safety in the news and safety. That's what the show is about. So that's something that we need to discuss. So we'll do that. Also, on top of that, there's a way for you to interact with the show. All you'd have to do is go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. They'll get everything moving and grooving for you. So you come in here, you talk, you move, you groove, we move on with life. I like the idea. It's a simple process. You talk, I talk, we all hang out and do the kumbaya stuff. Yeah. How hard can that be? So there you go. Some things to consider as we are moving forward. No doubt about that. So there you go. With all that being said, that's how it works. Callinradio.com gets you into our system if you want to interact with the show. Video, audio, text messaging. So before we get too far away, let's start talking right away about what the hell was trending in the overnight.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so as I talk about the trends of the ends of the end, Tesla grapples with European labor movement and historic artwork is returned. We'll talk about that as we get into the shit list. A Sopranos alum has opened his own speakeasy, and more lawsuits for Croy Bierman are coming in showbiz. HBO has extended John Oliver's weekly show, and Barbie is heading to streaming. We'll talk about that. And Prince Harry takes another crack at getting security in the UK. We'll talk about some of that as we get into hour 2 and 3. So don't worry about all that kind of fun stuff. So this morning I have some Mark Mayfield here, coming to hang out, talking about the things that are going on inside of the world. So why don't we get you some of that, as we have the professional broadcasters already waiting to talk to you, to give you the news. So let's do that right now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Mark Mayfield. Former President Trump is taking some shots at President Biden and his GOP rivals. Trey Thomas reports.
During a Fox News town hall event that aired on Tuesday, Trump said that he believes Biden is not fit to be the top Democrat.
I personally don't think he makes it. Okay, I haven't said that. I'm saving it for this big town hall. I personally don't think he makes it.
He later said someone gave Biden a talking point when he said he was unsure if he'd be running in 2024 if Trump was not also. Taking jabs at GOP rivals as well, Trump said he thought Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley wanted to play around with Social Security. I'm Trey Thomas.
The U.S. is imposing visa bans on people involved in violence in the West Bank. The bans that began on Tuesday followed a number of appeals to Israel to do more to stop violence by Jewish settlers. That violence has surged in recent months as settlements have expanded and spiked again since Hamas carried out a series of surprise attacks inside Israel on October 7th. The late Justice Sandra Day O'Connor will lie in repose in the Great Hall of the Supreme Court on December the 18th. Brian Shook fills us in.
According to a press release from the High Court, the public can pay respects that Monday. A private ceremony at the Supreme Court will begin at 9:30 a.m., after which the doors will open to the public. Retired Justice O'Connor's funeral service will be celebrated the next day at the National Cathedral by invitation only. I'm Brian Shook.
And at least 2 deaths are blamed on an atmospheric river that's been dumping heavy rain on the Pacific Northwest for 3 straight days. The National Weather Service says up to 8 inches of rain has fallen across the region, causing creeks to rise and possibly killing 2 people who may have been killed by floodwaters. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
Bringing you information you never knew you cared about. Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Israel says its troops are now in the heart of Khan Yunis in the south of Gaza. The US will impose visa bans on extremist Israeli settlers following attacks against Palestinians in the West Bank. Beijing says it was unwarranted and flawed for the credit rating agency Moody's to give a gloomier outlook on China's economy. And the UK government's expected to publish fresh legislation for its Rwanda migration policy by the end of the week.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
The Senate Majority Leader is happy after Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville lifted his holds on some military promotions. New York's Chuck Schumer blasted Tuberville's actions.
If every senator did what Senator Tuberville tried to do and held up military confirmations because of this or that partisan issue, no matter how deeply felt, it would grind the Senate to a halt.
The holds were in protest of the Pentagon's policy to reimburse service members who travel out of state seeking an abortion. He lifted the holds despite no change in the Pentagon's abortion policy. A federal court in Arizona is dismissing a lawsuit claiming former President Trump should not be allowed on the state's ballot next year. The judge said the lawsuit filed by little-known presidential candidate John Anthony Castro was dismissed because Castro lacks standing to bring his claim. The lawsuit was filed earlier this year, arguing that Section 3 of the Constitution's 14th Amendment disqualifies Trump because of his actions on January 6th. Judges in other states have also dismissed efforts to ban Trump from the ballot. The Commodore of a San Diego-based Navy squadron has been relieved of his duties. Phil Farrar has details.
He is 49-year-old Captain James Harney, forced to to step down. Harney was described as a key part of a San Diego-based distinguished amphibious squadron. He was arrested for a DUI felony hit-and-run crash on November 22nd, but the Navy refusing to discuss his demotion. Before Harney, Squadron 5 played important roles in Vietnam, Desert Shield and Desert Storm in the Persian Gulf. The Navy releasing a statement that read Harney will be administratively assigned and has been replaced by Captain Tate Robinson. I'm Phil Farrar.
And the 2010s are the hottest decade on record as the rate of climate change surged alarmingly. A new report from the World Meteorological Organization showed more planet-heating pollution in the atmosphere, giving way to record land and ocean temperatures. The report said that pollution turbocharged the glacier loss and sea levels rose from 2011 to 2020. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home title locks put a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HomeTitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HomeTitleLock.com.
It's this show, and they just make fun of a whole bunch of people. It's just too funny. It's too stupid.
Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, it's too stupid and too funny to some, that's for sure. Anyway, so let's get back into it. It's currently 15 minutes past the top of the hour because that is what we do around here, baby. So let's go ahead and get into it because why wouldn't we? Why would we not start talking about what is going on? So anyways, if you have an account with genealogy testing company 23andMe, you should probably change your passwords. Representatives say that they hacked used email password combination that has been previously leaked online elsewhere to crack into about 14,000 accounts, which represents about 1/10 of the percentage of users. Fortunately, no DNA information was obtained by hackers, but they were able to steal personal information like location data, addresses, and relationships with other users. This is according to the BBC. So if you do have a 23andMe account, you might want to give that a little password changey-angy, just some ideas there. Hey, just letting you know what's going on. Anyways, for 6 weeks, about 130 Tesla mechanics in Sweden have been on strike on demand of their rights to collective bargaining. Elon Musk has publicly denounced unions on multiple occasions over the years and hires employees on an individual basis. Now, a transport union in Denmark has announced plans for a sympathy strike to schedule to begin in 2 weeks, just days after the union in Norway and Sweden teamed up with similar strikes to try to force Tesla's hand. The walk-offs have stopped Tesla imports to Sweden for the time being, but so far the company has been able to maintain sufficient inventory to meet demand. Analysts know that there has been limited demand for Tesla vehicles in Sweden now, but the company could face larger problems if the strikes expands into Germany, where Tesla recently opened an enormous manufacturing facility. This is according to Barron's. Also, Musk's artificial intelligence company filed paperwork with the Security and Exchange Commission on Tuesday, announcing its intent to raise $1 billion investment money, and this is according to The Verge. So, what do you think? What do you think is going to happen with all of this? So, you have that. You have the announcement of the Cybertruck. So, you have some things going on in regards to this. So, first off, keep on reading stuff that references that the Cybertruck will be only a U.S.-based vehicle for the time being. So, will there be an impact if they try to transfer it over the ocean there in regards to moving it? Anyways, what do you think about the Cybertruck? I mean, this has been kind of a big question as of late in regards, especially the pricing, the range, and all that kind of fun stuff. I still would love to see it in person. I have not taken my ass down to a Tesla store yet to take a look at it, but there you go. Anyways, let's continue talking. What could go wrong? A robotics company has announced plans to begin mass production of two-legged humanoid robots designed specifically to assist with heavy lifting and hauling tasks. Agility robots have already been tested, digit model with Amazon and experts to open the production plant in Oregon early next year. The company's CEO calls the world's first purpose-built humanoid robot factory. The facility will eventually have the capacity of 10,000 of these robots every year. So here's my question. Do you build the humanoid to essentially help build itself? I mean, that is the plot. I mean, it sounds very plot of the Clone Wars. I'm just saying. I mean, if you kind of think about this, there is a lot of things going on now with technology that if you go back to some older movies, they kind of prepped you saying, hey, this is what's going to happen. I'm just wondering how true the Skynet stuff is.
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
So just some stuff to think about, no doubt about that. That is for sure. Anyways, the head of the NCAA sent a letter to hundreds of division schools on Tuesday calling a new program that would select athletes select student athletes at least $30,000 per year. Take a listen to this. He also proposes policy change to empower top colleges with the opportunity to create licensing deals with star players. The rules would apply to schools in Power 5 conferences and cover all sports and give them the option whether to participate or not. This is according to NBC News. So what do you think here? I mean, it's an interesting thing. I mean, just think about it, $30,000. I mean, think about that when you were in college, if that would have been a good chunk of change or not. I mean, I know with how the world changes now and everything goes, I mean, it would be kind of an interesting thing on how that will move forward, no doubt about that. Anyways, missing artwork from 15th century painter Sandro Botticelli has been found. The piece depiction of the Virgin Mary and Infant Christ was discovered at a home in southern Italy after having been passed down through the generations of a local parish family. Commissioned by the Roman Catholic Church in 1470, the painting is estimated to be worth at least $109 million. Worth noting, apparently the whole thing boils down to some miscommunication within the family charge, which kept keeping it in a safe. They do not face any criminal charges. This is according to CNN. So just so you know. So what do you think? Some stuff to think about for sure as we are talking. I mean, it gets interesting. Imagine that you lose the painting for not just some time, but a kind of a grand period of time. No doubt about that. Let's talk about some money matters. Let's get some Aaron Royale inside of here and get moving and grooving.
The number of job openings hit a 2-year low in October. The Labor Department reported just over 8.7 million vacancies for the month. That's a decline of more than 600,000 openings and a far bigger drop than expected. It's also a sign that a tight labor market could be loosening. The total number of people being hired or quitting their jobs in October was little changed. It turns out that early in the pandemic, the wealth of middle-class and lower-income Americans grew at a faster rate than higher earners. The median wealth of lower-income households shot up 101% between December 2019 and December 2021, while the middle class enjoyed a 29% increase. High earners had a median net worth of around $800,000 in December 2021, while the middle class and lower-income households had nest eggs of around $200,000 and $24,000 respectively. This is all according to Pew Research. Top Ukrainian officials are making their case to Congress to secure more U.S. funding. Ukrainian President Zelensky spoke to senators remotely during a classified briefing Tuesday afternoon, while the Speaker of Ukraine's parliament met with lawmakers on Capitol Hill. This comes as the White House warns Ukraine's military will suffer losses to Russia if new aid isn't approved before the end of December. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer will bring President Biden's $106 billion supplemental package to the floor for a procedural vote on Wednesday. The bill includes funding for Ukraine, Israel, Taiwan, and the southern border. Money may actually be able to buy happiness. Silvana Anau reports.
A recent survey by Empower shows millennials believe they need a salary of $525,000 to achieve financial happiness. Now, that's nearly triple that of Gen Xers. Millennials are in the prime age for several major financial decisions right now, such as buying a home or having children. Those in the survey define happiness in several ways, including paying bills on time, living debt-free, being able to afford everyday luxuries without worry, and owning a home.
Consumer and business news, Aaron Real, NBC News Radio.
Okay, I always thought the story went live like no one else, so later you can live like no one else. At least that's what I've heard Ramsey say more than one time in my lifetime. Anyways, take a listen to this. The Dow lost about 79 points to close at 36,124 on Tuesday. The S&P lost about 2 points to close at 4,567, and the NASDAQ added about 44 points to close at 14,229. West Texas Intermediate closed at $72 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $77 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.22, and Bitcoin surge continues, up more than 4.5% on Tuesday, edging past $44,000. There was about 1,690 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Tuesday, and more than 55 such cancellations. Tonight's Powerball drawing will be for $435 million jackpot or a $204.8 million cash payout. Sell if you want to play the game. If you want to play the game, I guess you have the opportunity to do so because it's all about the game, and now we're playing. So there you go. Anyways, let's talk real quick. Firefighters in Colorado Springs are going to new heights Captain J.J. Halsey with the Colorado Springs Department says that they are now using drones to help them respond quicker and safer.
It's very versatile and very quick deployable. So I can roll up on a scene and I can get this airborne probably within a minute.
Okay, Captain Halsey calls the tool a game changer, allowing them to see from around and above for the visual infrared images. This gives the crew a better idea of what's burning and being threatened. They've also been receiving multiple full-time support since August, but say that the drones could use in other ways like wildland or look at lost hikers without much of an issue. Also, J.J. Halsey with the Colorado Springs Fire Department explains that the drones are versatile in so many types of situations and that they're even doing more with such payload capacities for items like first aid kits and for water.
It doesn't just have to be structure fires. It could be anything from lost hikers, injured hikers, wildland incidents.
So there you go. A lot of interesting stuff there. There is no doubt about that. What do you think about the tech? Because, hey, technology's king, isn't it? I mean, isn't that what they say? Anyways, take a listen to this one coming out of Fort Collins, Colorado. Officials say that the homeless encampment that was cleared recently in Fort Collins was located in the underground drainage tunnel. Hope Team Sergeant Annie Hill says the Fort Collins Police Department established the homeless outreach and proactive engagement team specifically to deal with an on-house population and these types of situations. Take a listen to this.
We're trying to get people connected to the resources available, and whether that's long-term housing, shelter, some people need help accessing a birth certificate or navigating the criminal justice system.
Authorities found stolen property along with fire and environmental hazards during the sweep, which took place on Sunday. Currently, the encampment is being cleared of remaining debris. Fort Collins police say that it was the largest of its kind that they have seen so far. At least 5 people were reportedly living in the drainage tunnel, and they've been offered support services. Brandon Barnes from Fort Collins Police Department says to make sure that people living in targeted encampments are notified before the areas are cleared.
There's always ample warning that a cleanup may occur in that location, and always ample time allowing them the opportunity if they'd like to take any of that property with them.
Okay, so what is ample warning? Because that's something that I would love to have a better understanding. Because listen, that's like talking about stuff when somebody goes, yeah, the person has a lot of X. I never understand what that word a lot of kind of means, because that means so many different things to different people depending on how you take a look at it. There is no doubt about that. Take a listen to this one. Around 80% of Wyoming Park United Methodist Church is now 24/7 emergency homeless shelter. Family Promise of Western Michigan CEO Tanisa Fire says that Wyoming Park Family Shelter will have rooms for 12 families at a time and around 65 a year, with families averaging staying about 60 days in the shelter.
We have 43 families that are on our outreach list. That's 43 families that need a housing solution. So they're living in spaces that are not meant for human habitation.
Captain, listen to me. Pastor Kim DeLong says the congregation wanted to serve the community, and Fire adds to the shelter could serve as a model for other churches. Wyoming Park United Methodist Church Pastor Kim DeLong says that the idea of having a homeless shelter has been discussed by the congregation for a few years now. So take a listen to this.
We wanted to say, how can we do this differently? How can we be a church and be in community?
So there you go. You know, and that's kind of where you want to see it. So the church says that they're able to do this, and they go out of their way to make sure that they're able to help the community. That is an important aspect of the whole thing. Anyways, a stolen 9mm handgun has been seized from a 15-year-old boy in Ottawa Hills High School in Grand Rapids, Michigan. The student, when he tried to enter the school with it in his backpack yesterday. Grand Rapids Public School spokesperson Leon Hendricks says that the metal detector went off. The school security found the gun, and the teen was arrested.
We're grateful that we captured this before it went any further. But this is yet another call to do something about these young people and their access to firearms and dangerous weapons in our community.
Grand Rapids Police Chief Eric Winstrom says that the process shows that the system at the schools works and was successful. Superintendent Ladrine Robbie called for the situation disheartening, but added that she found that the system kept the gun out of the school. Grand Rapids School Public Spokesperson Leon Hendricks praised the security staff at Ottawa Hills High School.
Our system worked the way it should have. We made sure that a weapon did not get into the hallways of our buildings. But we don't want our system to have to work like this. We want that these guns are not in the hands of our young people.
So there you go. A lot of stuff going on right there as we are talking. A man is under arrest for spray painting a swastika on the East End. Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Tierney said that he arrested a 70-year-old man about this. Take a listen to this one.
We charge him with 2 counts of aggravated harassment in the first degree as a E-felony.
Okay, so the East Hampton, New York, the Suffolk County District Attorney of Suffolk County Police, along with the Eastern Hampton Police Department, worked together for the case. All 3 were monitoring, Michaels after the incident occurred back in October. So there you go. Some stuff going on right there. No doubt about it. Anyways, the president of 3 top universities are defending their response to the surge of anti-Semitism on campuses. In the House hearing, the Republican Congresswoman grilled Harvard president on the perceived double standard of when colleges choose to punish students.
A Harvard student calling for the mass murder of African Americans is not protected free speech at Harvard, correct?
Our commitment to
It's a yes or no question. Is that corrected?
Let's see. Gay denounced any trace of anti-Semitism, calling it a symptom of ignorance. She said that the institution is working hard to confront hate while preventing free speech. Gay, along with the president of MIT and UPenn, faced the grilling from lawmakers over their handling of anti-Semitism incidents following the Hamas attacks on Israel. Since the attack, the Department of Education launched the investigation into Harvard, UPenn, and other top schools. College campuses have seen a rise in tension over the ongoing Israel-Hamas war. Harvard President Claudine Gay says the institution is working hard to confront hate while preserving free speech.
This is difficult work, and I know that I have not always gotten it right. The free exchange of ideas is the foundation upon which Harvard is built.
Gay denounced any trace of anti-Semitism. Take a listen to this.
Speech that incites violence, threatens safety, or violates Harvard's policies against bullying and harassment is unacceptable.
Oh, there you go. Some interesting stuff. I mean, I don't know. It's an interesting one, no doubt about that. Take a listen to this. SAG-AFTRA members have voted to ratify their contracts. Brooks Walker has more.
The move means that the longest labor battle in Hollywood history is now officially over, following a 118-day strike that was suspended after a tentative agreement was reached in early November. It was approved with a 78% voting in favor, with turnout at 38%. Now, if it were to have been voted down, the strike would have likely continued. It will give a 7% increase in minimum rates for the first year of the deal and residual bonuses for streaming actors of $40 million. I'm Brooks Walker, NBC News Radio.
Okay, thank you, Brooks Walker, for that one. Let's do this one real quick. President Biden says that he is unsure that he would run for re-election if former President Trump wasn't in the race. Brian Shook has more.
At a campaign reception Tuesday, Biden said that voters cannot let Trump win. He made several campaign stops in the Boston area, where he also called Trump an election denier in chief. I'm Brian Shook.
An election denier in chief? Boy, that is that's an interesting way to put it. So let's talk about this real quick, because we talk about the business of radio and the world of radio. There is a bipartisan push to keep AM radio in new vehicles. Texas Republican Ted Cruz said that the plan to drop AM service is a big mistake.
Over 80 million Americans listen to AM radio every month. They rely on it.
Some companies have already killed AM from some models, claiming the electric motor interfere with the AM frequency. Cruz and Democratic Senator Ed Markey of Massachusetts point out that AM radio is an important line of communication during times of emergencies. Cruz tried to get the bill passed Tuesday by unanimous consent, but Kentucky Republican Senator Rand Paul opposed the measure. He claimed that it would force mandates on private companies, and he would only vote yes if the electric car tax credit was dropped. The bill struck for the time, so that's what happened there. Also, Democratic Senator Ed Markey of Massachusetts said that AM radio is vital during emergencies. Take a listen.
We have to ensure that, for public safety reasons, that AM radio stays in the vehicles that Americans drive.
So, Kentucky Republican Senator Rand Paul explained why he opposes it.
But I don't want to give up on our philosophy and just say, oh, well, because it's something we like, we're going to mandate it.
I mean, I guess I understand that when you say it in that fashion, but man, it's interesting. I mean, I started off in AM radio many years ago. KBBW 1010 AM out of good old Waco. Yeah, I haven't shouted out those letters in a very long time. But there you go. I love me some AM radio. It's where it all started for me. Anyways, let's get it all moving because it is 34 minutes past the top of the hour.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
You know, that's kind of some of the stuff that I want to talk about today because, listen, there is work that you do, there is work that I do, and there is work that people inside of the world do. And listen, it becomes a very interesting thing on how we take a look at technology and how things change and how life in the world will go and move and all this kind of fun stuff. And I want you to think about just some level of things that we're discussing here this morning. Number one, we're talking about taking AM radio out of certain cars. Listen, if that's what you want to do, I understand. There is some extent that makes sense for some people. It doesn't make sense for others. I get it. Then there has been we'll call them the satellite radio service providers. Remember, at one particular point, if you were buying a car, you either had the option of having XM radio or Sirius radio, which essentially they ended up merging together, where you could have both services combined because they became one company. And then you take a look around at what is going on with TV. So you have broadcast TV that you can get over the air, which is kind of a great thing in regards as long as you have an antenna. And then there was other companies. So then people said, okay, get rid of cable and just do streaming. And technology continues to advance and changes everything. You might probably be sitting here going, what the hell are you talking about? So yeah, that is a great thing. Technology advances what we're doing. But at the end of the day, here's the question. When these advances occur, does it change the way that you do work? Does it necessarily mean that it's better? Now, if you take a look around, and unless you've been living under a rock, you are aware that the rise of AI is occurring. And when I say the rise of AI, I'm using the wording in particular in that format because of this. The world is changing because of AI. The world is looking forward and going into some very odd things because of the world of AI. But does that mean that we devalue what has been done previously? The things that worked before? Or do you look at it and you go, we have to look at everything across the board? I mean, I don't know. I'm so hung up on the changes and the shifts inside of the industry because I don't think it's just one thing. And I am saying I'm thinking so that you know that this is dangerous. And now if I said this is my opinion, totally different story there. But as I think about this, when you move forward with what is going on inside of the industry, you have to almost look back before you can look forward. And I say that because when you start talking about artificial intelligence, and we're not talking about artificial generated intelligence, we're just talking about artificial intelligence at this moment, you have to look at it from the standpoint of it is gathering data from the past to be able to move forward into the future. The same way that you look at these different safety systems, they're built off of what was there previously and they're stacked on, bolted on, because you still have to have a level of a foundation to be able to build off of. Yes, this worked. Yes, this didn't work. Yes, that moved forward. So as you look at this, what do you put value in? Does the tech drive the value, or does the elder statesmen that were there that built and put together look at it from the standpoint of this makes sense in regard to what we're doing? I know, a lot of stuff to think about, and it's just a Whip 'em Out Wednesday. This sounds very intense for us to be talking about this already.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, The Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello. What do guys like besides pizza and morning sex?
Jay Allen in the morning.
It's so bizarre and unnatural.
It's all good. On Radio Big.
Okay, here we go. We are back 43 minutes past the top of the hour. You are still listening to the Rated R Safety Show on this lovely Whip 'em Out Wednesday. And thank you for all the people that have reached out during this lovely Whip 'em Out Wednesday to call in radio. I appreciate it. So this right here that you're taking a listen to, well, it's called The River by Nikki Leonte. Yeah, The River. So all you have to do to take a listen to this, well, besides that you're listening to it right now, if you want to give it a little streamer-eamer action, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, you have some options to take a listen to. So just some things to go with. We would like to thank Nikki Leonte for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. Yeah, it's always a mover and a groover, no doubt about it. Okay, so let's get back inside of the world of all the things that are happening inside of here, no doubt. So we have to get moving, we have to get grooving, and everything along that way, because that is what we do real quick. So let's talk real quick about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. To Write Love on Her Arms wants you to know that people have been where you are now and things can get better. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to twloha.com. That's twloha.com to find out some more information. No doubt about that one. So, once you get there and get to the website, click on the section that says Find Help. Like, seriously, click on that section. You'd be amazed on all the resources that are available there for you because they are just life-changing in regards of how they do stuff. To Write Love on Her Arms, twloha.com. That will get everything moving and grooving for you, no doubt about it. So what do you think? Always some stuff. Seriously, To Write Love on Her Arms, twloha.com. Listen, once you get to that website, all kinds of information readily available if you're so inclined to take a look on what is going on for sure. So with that being said, let's continue talking. Let's talk about some new developments. In honor of Cookie Day on Monday, restaurant chain Subway offered cookie lovers their chance for the first time to try the new foot-long chocolate chip cookie. Yeah, foot-long dessert will be launching nationwide in January, but the select Subway restaurants handed out the delicacy for free with the purchase of a foot-long sub. In addition, of 4 Subway restaurants in Chicago, Dallas, Miami, and New York were transformed into Cookie Ways outlets for that day. The problem with having a cookie that's a foot long is that everyone else will be able to see it, and they honestly expect you to share it. So that became the issue for some. Nobody wants to share their cookie. There is no doubt about that. Also, with December being the most popular month of the year for engagement, cat-loving companies is offering up a free engagement ring. Yeah, I did say a free engagement ring for happy couples to come up with the most inventive and heartwarming way to include their cat marriages proposal. Felix Cat Insurance says that anyone planning to propose with this month can privately share their engagement plans by Felix Perfect Cat Proposal, including their way that the kitty will be involved in the memorable milestone moment. The grand prize will be a ring worth $4,750 and a furry friend package cat treat and a plush champagne toy. So there you go, some stuff to think about as we are talking. And a festive feline accessory are all the felines that are creative in regards of what is going on. So there you go, all kinds of fun stuff as we are talking. What do you think? Do you think that the cat should get married? I mean, maybe that's one of those weird things to give some consideration to, or not consider at all. It's just one of those weird anomalies as things mix and match together, because there is no doubt about that. Think about it. So there you go. Let's get into some other things that are happening inside of the world as we are hanging and banging on this lovely Wednesday. No doubt about that. So let's take a look around as the news is going through. A former President Trump won't be at the tonight's GOP presidential candidate debate, but he did take time to be part of Fox News town hall event that aired on Tuesday. During the sit-down that was hosted by Sean Hannity, he briefly addressed a question about authoritism and the possible abuse of power if elected again.
He says, "You're not going to be a dictator, are you?" I said, no, other than day one. We're closing the border, and we're drilling.
So let's see. Trump remains the front runner for 2024 Republican presidential nomination. So there you go. Some stuff to think about as we are talking. Also, there has been the following series of spa robberies in Queens. Andrew Whitman reports.
40-year-old Shahib Usman was arrested Tuesday on attempted murder, rape, robbery, assault, and more. Police say his 4 robberies got increasingly violent, pistol whipping one spa worker, shooting another, and sexually assaulting a woman in a third while he had a gun to her head. Those incidents date back to the Sunday after Thanksgiving. All of the spas were Asian-owned and operated, but police don't think bias or hate was a motive. They think they were crimes of opportunity for Usman. A second suspect remains at large. Andrew Whitman, NBC News Radio, New York.
Okay, thank you, Andrew Whitman, for that information right there. Take a listen to this. The Governor Gretchen Whitman has issued the executive directive to have all of her 8,000 vehicle fleet be entirely electric in just 17 years.
We are always focused on what's next.
The state fleet right now has just 3 EVs. Yes, that's it. General Motors CEO Mary Barra says that while they have a goal to produce 100% electric vehicles by 2035, that might change based on consumer demand. Barra says that the vehicles need to have a proper range, and there is a need, to be charging infrastructure to be in place. So there you go. Some stuff to think about as we are talking. General Motors CEO Mary Barra says they're still planning to become complete electric by 2035, but adds into the equation here the 2035 consumer driven. Take a listen to this.
EVs have to be, first of all, they have to be beautiful, but they have to be affordable, and there also has to be the right range, and they also have to, there has to be a charging infrastructure that supports them. I think we're on that journey.
So there you go. The journey begins, no doubt about it, because that is always the way that the things move, the way that the life goes in regards to that. So by 2040, we have this. 2035, we have what they're trying to do, and then in 17 years, I mean, what are we talking here? I mean, 2040 is just right around the corner when you kind of really give the big picture of that. If you don't believe me, have a kid. You'll be amazed.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
So there you go. Some stuff always going on. Some stuff always happening. Anyways, it is 52 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's do this real quick. Let's bring some John Smalls in and let him tell you about what the hell is going on with the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Todd. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "We need leaders who are not in love with money, but in love with justice. Not in love with publicity, but in love with humanity." I love that. What an amazing thing to strive for. Think about how weird it is that our political leaders, not always, but quite often, end up becoming millionaires, even though they're supposedly working for you and me. And they're supposedly serving our country in a position that doesn't pay enough to make them millionaires. So where does this other money come from? And what strings are tied to it? We can see how the leaders benefit, but how about the country they're leading? How do we benefit? I sure hope we do somehow. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Mass shootings in the U.S. are at a new record this year, with more in 2023 than any year since 2006. The Washington Post Gun Violence Database shows there have been 38 mass shootings with 4 or more deaths this year. That's up from last year's total of 36. Shootings in Dallas and Vancouver, Washington on Sunday, breaking that record and pushing the number of deaths to just under 200. Mass shootings have been on the rise since the COVID-19 pandemic pandemic, with 21 in 2020. A warning out of New York about minors playing the lottery. The State Gaming Commission's Division of Lottery is asking folks this holiday season not to purchase scratch-off lottery tickets for kids as gifts, saying that lottery games should only be gifted by adults to adults. The National Council on Problem Gambling says youth gambling is a public health issue. Health Update, David Folk Thomas, NBC News Radio.
Okay, thank you, David Folk, for that information right there. Definitely makes it an interesting one as you start thinking and talking about all this kind of fun shit. There is no doubt about that. So let's talk about this real quick because we need to. We need to talk about it. The Commodore of San Diego-based Navy Squadron has been relieved of his duties. Phil Farrar has it.
He is 49-year-old Captain James Harney, forced to step down. Harney was described as a key part of a San Diego-based distinguished amphibious squadron. He was arrested for a DUI felony hit-and-run crash on November 22nd, but the Navy refusing to discuss his demotion. Before Harney, Squadron 5 played important roles in Vietnam, Desert Shield and Desert Storm in the Persian Gulf. The Navy releasing a statement that read Harney will be administratively assigned and has been replaced by Captain Tate Robinson. I'm Phil Farrar.
Okay, thank you, Phil Farrar, for that one real quick, letting us know what is going on. Take a listen to this. A Kent man is charged with child sexual abuse, and detectives think that there might be more victims. This is coming out of Redmond, Washington.
30-year-old Christopher Remsing was arrested in September as part of an undercover operation targeting child sexual abuse. Detectives seized Remsing's electronic devices, along with hundreds of pairs of children's underwear and other clothing from Remsing's home. He faces 2 counts of attempted child rape. Remsing has a history of offering to babysit, which is why investigators think there might be more victims. Parents with information should contact Redmond Police. Brad Ford, NBC News Radio.
Okay, thank you, Brad Ford, for keeping us updated on what's going on. Take a listen to this. Mayor Adams' administration will be launching a pilot program early next year to address fires being caused by e-bike batteries in New York City. Scott Pringle has more.
The pilot program will allow a select group of delivery workers to charge e-bikes in the public using battery swapping networks and secure biking parking docks and other technology. Mayor Eric Adams says the goal is to bring e-bike charging outdoors.
Far too many people, they bring their bikes indoors, keep the bike by the door. When the fire happens or the explosion takes place, now you are blocking your egress.
There's been hundreds of fires in the city over recent years, started by lithium-ion batteries used in e-bikes, including 18 deadly ones this year. Scott Pringle, NBC News Radio, New York.
Okay, thank you, Scott Pringle, for that information right there on what the hell is going on, because we're always curious about that stuff. There is no doubt about that. So there you go. Some interesting things as we are talking. Anyways, let's take a look around and talk about some things that happened back on this date. As I take a look around, back in 2017, Starbucks opens the largest coffee cafe in the world in Shanghai. The coffee joint is 30,000 square feet and about half the size of a football field. That happened back in 2017. If you're looking at some birthdays that are going on today, let's talk about a few of them. Wesley Stoneberg turns 30. Rachel Daly turns 32. Jose Contreras turns 52. And Andrew Cuomo turns 66. So there you go. If you're looking at some days to celebrate, well, we got all those today. It's St. Nicholas Day, National Pawnbroker Day, Put on Your Own Shoes Day, National Miners Day, National Gazpacho Day, and Mitten Tree Day. So there you go. Some stuff that you can celebrate if you're so inclined to do so. If you need a random joke for today, well, I always have one of those for you, because why wouldn't I? Of course I can keep a secret, but people tell me I obviously can't. So there you go. If you need a question for the water cooler, try this. About 70% of people say that they'll buy this during a holiday season. What is it? Scotch tape. So there you go. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What's common experience for many people that you can never experience and don't mind admitting to? That's for the phone starter if you need it. So there you go. There you go. Anyways, thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, because without you, it does not make a lot of sense to do what we do around here. That is for sure. If you you want to hang out with me for a little bit longer, for the next couple hours or so, I'll be going over to radiobig.fm, hanging out, doing all the fun stuff that I get to do. So that's kind of the cool part of the equation, if you want to come and do that. If you don't, that's fine. You can stay here on Safety FM and hang out with the likes of Sheldon Primus, where he will talk about the world of safety consulting. So that will do all the fun stuff that we get to do, one way, shape, or form. If I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this. An obstacle is often a stepping stone. Think about that. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
Free